Are we live, Manny? We're waiting for you.
Oh, yes, we are live.
Hmm. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3.
Testing, testing.
Beautiful.
Well, good morning, everyone. Good to have you here. Good morning, Jimon.
Thank you, Shoryu.
This is exciting. It's the first time we're doing this together. Right on. So, everyone, welcome to Ease and Joy. This is a easeful and joyful morning, afternoon, where we're learning like Zen 101. I'm Shoryu, or Eddie, Edoardo Eusepi. I was a resident here for some time. Now I am a school teacher. I'm a high school history teacher locally in Santa Fe. And this is Jimon. You want to introduce yourself?
Thanks. I've been a resident here now for 3 years and a novice priest for 1 year. And I feel very fortunate to be here.
So today, I think it's nice to kind of go around and briefly do some introductions. Just your name, your kind of background in meditation, what brings you here today, and then we'll just give you an outline of the morning. As you might notice, I really love this program. I think it's a great way for us to open our doors to the community and show what Zen is all about. Oftentimes I speak to people and they say, there's so many rules. It looks so stark and dark and oh my God, I'm getting everything wrong. So this is a way to dispel those kind of concerns. Yeah. So maybe we can start off going clockwise. Maybe from back there, just say your name, your background in meditation, and yeah, that's about it.
My name is Rose, and I'm a resident here in Upaya for about 5 months. I've been learning and invested in Zen practice for about 3 years, and it's been a very deeply transformative practice. And I've been very touched by the teachings and the practice of meditation, and especially sessions. And
So I think we need a mic, right, Deborah? So I'll just repeat it for the online crowd. Welcome, online crowd, as well. So Amber Rose is a resident here. She's been a Zen practitioner and invested in Zen for the last 3 years and has been really moved by Sesshin. You've done already a Sesshin here. Whoa, cool. And then maybe we can keep going and I'll reflect back to the online community.
Can you hear me, Shoryu?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, why don't you give them, Jimon, maybe you can give the mic, pass around your mic.
Manny is here with the mic already. Here we go.
Testing. Testing. That does not work.
Wow, Noah's the ghost on the screen. So Kodo Sensei is online, and we don't see him, but we hear him. Kodo, you still there? He's disappeared.
Testing this one.
Now it's working.
Sound. Okay. This will help for in the room. Do you want to go Ambrose again, or?
Hi, I'm Lorene Higgins, and I'm really excited to be exposed and learn more about Zen. I've been practicing in the Vajrayana and Dzogchen tradition for maybe almost 7 years now, and live here, and I'm very excited to experience this side of the Dharma.
Maybe we can go like V like that. So, yeah, thank you.
I'm Asmat. I'm an artist, a new resident here. And probably the first time I had my meditation experience was about 10 years ago, and I found a lot of wisdom and an opportunity to really clarify my thinking and my practice, both in my personal life and artistic practice. And so I'm very happy to be here.
Good to have you. Can you repeat your name again?
Esmat, E-S-M-A-T.
E-S-M-A-T, Esmat.
Yeah.
Good to meet you, Esmat.
Thank you.
Hello, Megan, current resident, practicing Zen and sitting, meditation, zazen, for about 20 years, and that's it.
Name again one more time.
Megan.
Megan.
I'm Jess, and meditation is new to me. Done like online things and things like after yoga, but nothing very intentional. So I'm excited to explore Upaya, see how it goes.
Welcome. Your
Welcome.
name one more time?
Jess.
Jess. Okay. I'm just having her.
Hi, I'm Joanna. I'm local, and I've had some relationship with Upaya, I think, for the past 10 years since I moved to Santa Fe. I used to come to a lot of Dharma talks and zazen before the pandemic, and then it kind of messed everything up for everybody. But yeah, I'm back into the Dharma talks, and I've been interested in the walking meditation and learning more, so getting deeper into my practice. So happy to be here.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Hi, my name is Paul. I live here in Santa Fe. I have dabbled in different meditation practices, but never really actually made it a practice. It's in the surface, so it's perhaps a journey to go a little deeper here.
Thanks, Paul. Welcome.
Good morning. Good morning again. I'm Deborah, also Myo On, and I've been practicing Zen for about 20 years and took lay ordination vows about 10 or 11 years ago. So I moved to Santa Fe at the beginning of this year to accept a staff position here as associate director and also resident program coordinator. So happy to be here with Sangha.
Thanks, Deborah.
I'm Katie. Have been a resident here for about 2 weeks and change. I've been meditating on and off for maybe 15, 17 years or so, but Soto, Zen, and these forms are new for me.
What was your name again?
Katie.
Katie.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Arnaldo. I've been practicing Zen for 35 years in 3 different lineages. Currently I am a resident here. I have been for 3 months. Very happy being here in this community and in this practice.
Hi, everyone. My name is April, and I'm new to meditation, and I'm new to Upaya, and I moved to Santa Fe late last year. So welcome. Thank you.
And welcome.
And welcome.
Hello, my name's Charlie. I've had a fitful practice for a lot of years, and now I would like to deepen that practice. Good to be here.
Thanks, Charlie. Good to have you.
Hey, I'm Deborah, and I've done little bits of meditation off and on. I've never been like educated in meditation, but I did find myself yesterday doing a lot of distracting behaviors. So I just kind of found this yesterday and if it feels like the right place to be for me now. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Todd. I'm from Austin, visiting a few days. I feel very grateful to be able to experience the Upaya Sangha for a few days. So thank you. Been trying to practice Zen for decades, and I've always found being able to receive instruction whenever possible to be the most rewarding. So that's why I'm here today. And I'll give this to the lady in front of me.
Thanks, Tom. Welcome.
Hello, my name is Anna Maria, and I live between Santa Fe and Taos. And my main spiritual path is a bit different. It's Bhakti path, the path of devotion. And I love to come to Upaya. I come as often as I can and to receive Roshi Jones' transmissions of love and Dharma. Yeah.
Thanks, Anna Maria. Welcome.
Good morning. I'm Marty. I'm a current Upaya resident, and previous meditation experience has been Tibetan, Dzogchen, and Thai forest tradition. But I studied for the past couple of years with Dhamma Dipa, who teaches Soto Zen and also Theravada. So, learning more about the forms. So grateful to be here with you all.
Marty. Thanks, guys. Well, welcome everyone. Thank you so much. So just to give a brief out, is this working? Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks, Manny. To give a brief outline of the morning, we're going to do about a short meditation instruction, just about 15 minutes now, just to get the bare bones kind of minimum. And then after that, we'll do some forms. We'll stretch a little bit. This is very much an embodied, tactile practice. And then, go over some kind of forms. So some walking meditation forms, some bowing forms. Really try to remove all those barriers that sometimes people have to Zen practice. As you'll see, they're beautiful practices of community. Jimon, anything you want to add?
That's good.
Okay, without further ado then, everyone, this is the morning of ease and joy. So first things first, sit as comfortably as you know how. Really, this is the foundation. Really to get in your body, to get comfortable. If you're sitting on the ground, I always recommend that you place a cushion underneath you that raises your hips higher than your knees. Very important. Why is this important, Shoryu? Well, because we want gravity to work with us. If our hips are higher than our knees, our blood will flow down. If our knees are higher than our hips, blood's going to flow down to our hips and our legs are going to go numb. So pretty important, right? Now, what's also cool about our practice is that there are many different postures that we can use to support our body. The one that everyone knows from the movies and the books is the full lotus, where you put one foot in one lap and the other foot in the other lap. Now that is a great posture for your body. It aligns the spine, but boy, do you have to be flexible to do that, right? So if you can do that, power to you, do it. I personally can't, and I've been doing this also for decades. What I like to do is the half lotus. I put my left leg on my right lap, and that is also a fantastic way to practice. Yeah. So there's the full lotus, there's a half lotus, and then there's another position called the Burmese position, where you put one leg in front of the other. Yeah, so try that on for size. Again, what is the proper way to say your sits bones? There we go. I don't want to say another word, but your sits bones, they want to be about 1/3 on the cushion. So you're a little forward on your cushion. So that way you're kind of leaning forward. Yeah. And yeah, so let's see. Good, that's better. Try to go 1/3 forward on the cushion. Yeah, a little more forward. Yeah. And so you use that weight to kind of lean forward. Yeah. Good. That's better, y'all. That's better. And then, of course, another fantastic position is on a bench. I don't see anyone using the bench. Oh, there we go. Remind me your name again?
Esmat.
Esmat. Esmat. Esmat. Okay. E as well, Eddie. Okay. So you see Esmat, he's sitting on a bench. This is also a fantastic position. And notice with Esmat's position, with Jimon's position, or even on the chair. The chair is also a beautiful position to be in. We are grounded. We have, in Jimon's case or in my case, 3 points touching the ground. You have your sits bones, you have each knee, and you're triangulating in a way all your weights down to the ground. If we can, Deborah, I'm going to ask you to lean a little more. So not your cushion, but your body. Just 1/3 of you see this? Yeah. Maybe even push the cushion a little back. Yeah. Good. Yep. Good. Good. Yeah. And if you look around at others' postures, sometimes maybe your knee is a little lifted. You could put a cushion under that, right? So after we're settled in our seated position, again, comfort being the key, we want to make sure our spine is aligned. What does that mean? So you're stacking your spinal cord. So that way you don't have to use your muscles. Completely relax your muscles. Let your skeletal structure support your body. This is from the top of your head all the way down to your sits bones. We're stacking our spine. Our shoulders are open, our chest is open, our back is straight. And believe it or not, the way we hold our body sets our disposition in the world. So with a strong back and an open heart, we can face the world. Our chin is slightly tucked in. And what this does is that it naturally pulls our gaze 45 degrees in front of us. Our ears are over our shoulders. Our head is as if a string is pulling it from the top. And really try to settle into your body. Our gaze in Zen is open but soft. Our gaze is gentle. And then we gently place our hands in front of us on our lap, our left hand over our right so that our thumbs gently touch each other. So delicately touching each other that you can pass a piece of paper through it. And so all these instructions are guides. They're guides to hold our body upright, but gently, not uptight. These are supports. Fundamentally, ladies and gentlemen, this is the whole of the practice. Just being in this seated position. Now we will ring the bell 3 times. And as you hear the sound of the bell, really try to follow the sound as far as you can. Now as you're settling into your body, into your posture, rooted in the ground, please bring your awareness to your abdomen, to the pit of your stomach. Gently and kindly, just watch your belly expand and contract. Just do that 3 times. Now you've observed your breath 3 times. You're settled in your posture. Please bring to mind, why are you here? Why are you sitting today? What is your purpose in this practice? Bring this intention to mind. Maybe you've come to find a little peace, a little tranquility. Maybe your intention is to be more present in your life, be more supportive of others. Whatever that intention is, see if you can feel it in your body. Where is it? Once you've invoked this intention, this powerful intention that you feel, just as gently release it. Release it and return your awareness back to your belly, back to your abdomen. And you might immediately notice, okay, I'm back observing my belly, but then I'm thinking about work. I'm thinking about lunch. The function of the mind is to think. That is normal. What we're doing is just being here with our bodies, seated, letting those thoughts roam as we just observe our belly. We could give our thoughts a wide pasture to roam. But the ground is always beneath us. Now again, you can anchor your attention to your belly just by feeling the sensations of your abdomen as it expands and contracts. In these last few moments, ladies and gentlemen, I would like for you to think, to come to mind, to your heart, some person, some situation, personal or otherwise, where you find great difficulty. And send whatever peace, whatever merit, whatever goodness, calm, quiet you've generated now. Send it to them. Do that now, please. We all go into Gasho. We bow. Thank you, everyone. That was just a little taste. It was about 15 minutes. We just did a basic outline of a sit. We'll do a little bit more in a bit. And let's see, should we... It's 10:30. How's everyone's legs feeling? A little cramped? Everyone's feeling okay? Everyone feeling comfortable? Everyone feeling easeful? Yeah? Okay, we're going to stretch a little bit. It's really important that, yeah, I think I said this already, but this is not a mind practice, ladies and gentlemen. This is a physical practice. We're in our bodies. So what I'm going to ask everyone to do is to stretch out their legs. Move your toes. Maybe you can circle with your ankles. A few times one way, then a few times the opposite way. You can massage your knees. Massage your calves. Massage your thighs. Bend your knees. Okay, I hope that feels better. Get some blood flowing. So here at Upaya, most days, usually Wednesday through Sunday, we have 3 sits a day, and they are open to the public. 7 a.m., 12:20, and 5:30. At 7 a.m., we have our longest sit of the day. It's from 7 to 7:40. Then we have liturgy, 7:40 to 8. In the afternoon, it's 12:20 to 1, so also 40 minutes. And then if you come at 5:30 in the afternoon, maybe you work, we do 25 minutes sit, then we do 10 minutes walking meditation, kinhin. And this is a beautiful practice, walking meditation. It's a great way to get the blood flowing. And we're going to do that now. Okay, now, as I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of forms to Zen practice. And I'm going to show you those forms, especially to walking meditation. And I would love, after that, we're going to do a Q&A. I would love for someone to ask, like, why do we do forms? What's the purpose of them? There's a rhyme and a reason. And it's a beautiful reason as to why we do it. Okay, so now Jimon's going to ring the bell. We're all going to stand, turn, dust our cushion and fluff our cushion. We'll bow to our cushion, turn clockwise. And then from here, we would normally directly get into walking meditation. But the way that we're organized, it's a bit awkward. So I'm going to ask everyone to get to the perimeter of the cushions around the zendo. Jimon, would you like to give the instructions for this as a Jikido?
Sure.
So just follow Jimon's instructions, ladies and gentlemen.
At the sound of the clack, please turn to your left. At the sound of the next clack, please begin slowly walking meditation. You'll drop your hands into Shashu at your midsection, and we'll walk one step, one breath.
Clack.
At the sound of the next clack, we'll bow and begin walking quickly.
So everyone, we do this to really get the blood flowing in our bodies. And we usually do this for around the zendo.
At the sound of the next clack, we'll bow and go into slow walking meditation.
So just to reiterate what Jimon said, it's one step, one breath. And that usually looks like heel to toe. Lift the right foot, inhale, move the right foot forward, place it down, exhale. Really just settle with your breath and your walk.
At the sound of the next clack, bow and walk quickly back to your cushion.
Okay, everyone, so when you get to your cushion, you just bow to your cushion again, turn clockwise, and wait in what we call gasho. Gasho is when our hands are both together, about 6 inches in front of our nose, with our eyes looking past the tops of our fingertips. When you hear the bell, then we'll bow together. And then we sit again comfortably in our cushion. And so for the afternoon sit, we would then do another 25 minutes of sitting practice again. And then we would end with the chant of the 4 vows. So I guess the other form that I think a lot of people kind of get confused about is walking in, right? So the last form I'll mention, and then I would love to open up to Q&A, is that when we walk in, we always bow to the altar. We're bowing to the Buddha, but not only to the metal statue of Manjushri Buddha, thank you, but also it's to the Buddha inside. It's to your own awakened nature. This is very important. We could talk more about it. Then we go to our cushion. We dust off our cushion. We fluff our cushion. We place it comfortably how we want it. And then we bow to the cushion. This is bowing to the Dharma, to the teaching, meditation practice. Then we turn clockwise. We get comfortable in our body. We go in gasho, and we bow to the congregation. And if someone's across from you, they will return the bow. And this is bowing to the community, bowing to the Sangha, that we do this in community together. Yeah? And we call those 3 bows the triple gem, the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, these are the basics that we need. So I hope you come in and you don't feel so like, out of place. Yeah. This is, I hope, supportive. I'd like to open it to Q&A, unless, Jimon, do you want to add something? Oh, has this been off the whole time? Great. Yeah, it's been off. It's okay. I think everyone heard me.
I'll just add how you return bows. So if someone is across the zendo from you, we bow if they're directly across or one on each side. But we limit it to that because otherwise we get into a situation where there's bowing, 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 and then like nobody knows when to stop it. So it's just directly across whoever's sitting from you.
Thank you. It's an important addition. We've had moments it's like ping pong, bow, 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 which is sweet, right? We're all bowing together. Okay. Do we have a mic to go around, Manny, for any questions? Awesome. So yeah, please ask away, y'all. This is a rich opportunity for you to dispel any doubts.
It wasn't any. No.
Oh, we got a question right here, Manny.
Katie.
So I just wanted to confirm the inhale and the exhale is on the same foot.
That's a good question because you'll hold up the whole line. Yeah, it's a good question. Yeah.
Why with the hill when you step forward? Instead of the point, where you go with the hill?
No, you go with the point. It's heel to toe. So like 2 feet. We always start with the left. Oh, yeah, that's a good question. You could land with the toe too. As long as the distance, generally the recommendation is heel to toe. Yeah. Yeah.
It's whatever gives you a sense of stability, because some people find that they feel like they're a little bit off kilter, like as if you were trying to ride a bike really slow, and so you just kind of over time find, what is it that gives you that sense of stability and movement and focus.
Yeah, and I think that goes for all the guidelines we have here. Whatever makes you most comfortable in your body. If somehow you think that you have to walk some way that's different than natural for you, then don't do that. Stay with, what's comfortable to your body. Yeah. Good. Thank you.
I just had a question about the chant, because I've only been at the Sangha, but is this chant that we do specific to our Sangha? Maybe you can speak to that.
That's a great question. Are you talking about the 4 vows? Yeah, Roshi worked with Kaz Tanahashi on our 4 vows. So the basic ideas are the same, but the way they're expressed is different. And she languaged them in a really significant way. Creations are numberless. I vow to free them. I'm not sure how that differs from like San Francisco Zen Center. It changes. Does anyone know that?
To save them.
To save them. Yeah, to free them. Yeah. And then delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to transform them. And in other versions, it's I vow to end them. And she felt like that was an aggressive way to language it. And so she put in transform, which would not have been a literal translation of it, but she felt was more supportive of the overall intention. And then I actually don't know what the differences are with other lineages. Do you?
Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them.
I don't know.
Oh, absolutely. So Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. And the Buddha's way is unsurpassable. I vow to become it.
To become it. Yeah. And we would say, I vow to embody it. Yeah. So most of the time it's kind of using synonyms, but that word transform instead of end, I would say, is the most significant difference. Yeah. And you'll notice in the chants here, Roshi was a longtime student of Thich Nhat Hanh. So there's certain chants that we get that come out of his lineage, especially our meal gata is one of them.
Yeah, I think our meal and our Dharma talk got that as well. Yeah. Yeah. So we have influence, even if you look to your right, we have a Vajrayana influence. Someone was saying there. Yeah, green Tara.
Green Tara.
Yeah. Which has a dog, you'll notice that's Roshi Jones' dog, Dominga, who passed. Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, Mayumi Oda, a Japanese American artist who lived at Green Gulch for many years, painted this green Tara, and it's her representation of Roshi as green Tara. So it has some very Tibetan influences in it, but it also, you'll see expressions of Santa Fe in our local landscape. It has chili peppers, penstemon, plants that we would have in our landscape.
I
Yeah.
love it. Thank you.
Yeah. And I just learned recently that that's a healing tanka. Roshi had broken her hip, and Mayumi Oda painted that as a healing tanka. And green tar does represent healing. Yeah.
Yeah, question. Oh, okay, then you next.
Two questions.
Sure.
Back to the vowels. What is used for Dharma gates? Is it realities or something? Is that what I heard this morning?
Gosh, I have to always do it.
Yeah, I have to do the whole thing.
Creations are numberless. I vow to free them. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to transform them. Reality is boundless. I vow to perceive it. The awakened way is unsurpassable. I vow to embody it.
So Dharma gates are realities.
Yeah. So Dharma has many translations, but in this case, Dharma is phenomenon, the phenomenal world.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then
singular reality.
Reality.
Yeah, not realities. Yeah.
Okay. And then do we bow upon leaving the zendo?
Yes, great question. Yes, we bow. We bow upon leaving the zendo.
Thank you.
Yeah, actually, we do everything in reverse. So at the end of the sit too, we bow to the cushion, but then we wait until everybody bows together and the inken will be hit to signify when we do that. The Jikido is watching to make sure everybody's ready. And so we do the two bows, and then when we exit, we bow to the altar here.
Is there someone over here?
Yeah, there's someone over here.
Since you asked us to ask, would you tell us more about the forms?
Mm-hmm.
And then in particular, would you talk about if you know anything about the history of the walking meditation and how that came into the Zen tradition? How and why? If you know.
Jimon, do you want to
She don't know
do the forms?
Yeah.
You want to do the forms first? I'll do
Yeah,
the
go
form.
ahead.
Yeah, so the forms, I had practiced Zen and so just my personal experience, I had practiced Zen before coming to Upaya and Theravadan tradition as well. And one thing that moved me here when I came to Upaya was the role of forms. And this was really brought by Dogen Zenji. Dogen Zenji is the founder of the Soto lineage, which comes from China, the Caodong lineage in China. It's from the 13th century monk. And, he had also studied koans, which are these, I don't know if everyone's familiar with koans, but they're these stories, these perplexing stories that we use to circumvent kind of the thinking mind, to get us directly to the experience of our lives right here and right now. But when he went to China, he was so moved by sitting practice. He came back and he just started teaching sitting practice. And we'll actually read this first text that he wrote emphasizing sitting practice. And he innovated this whole idea of forms. And what I've loved about practicing at Upaya is that Roshi Jon, as our teacher, has been very clear about expressing what these forms are for. And it's rooted actually in science, which I just love this for my rational mind, right? So when we all bow together, when we all chant together, when we all sit together, when we all walk together, we are co-regulating our nervous system because we're doing this all together. So in a way, as a group, like how dogs do when they're in packs together and move together, they kind of relieve their stress and their trauma by being together, by being in the pack, working together. It is the same with us here when we do this together. And I can personally attest to that. Having lived here, having practiced here, that happens. And so this kind of like expansion of our hearts, because we're all moving together, is such a powerful practice. It's not just us doing stuff together because we're a cult or anything. No, there's a rationale, there's a rhyme and a reason to it.
Yeah, I would add to that that the word that Roshi often uses for that is to have the one body experience. And it's helping us drop this sense of kind of the individual self and feel the interconnectedness of everyone in the room. And, you know, the science that he described is almost happening at the unconscious level. It's like beneath the mind. So it's not creating that out of some concept. In a very embodied way, our bodies are responding to that. Yeah. And the other thing I'd like to add is none of the forms are meant to be a performance. And one of the favorite teachings I have that Roshi gave, she walked into the zendo right before we were going into sesshin, which is one of our more intensive practice periods. And she puts a lot of emphasis on the forms, and she wants us to learn them and to do them. But she said, it's not a performance. Just bring your whole heart into the zendo. And when we bring our whole hearts in, that's really felt by everybody. And you might not have noticed, but even when I was giving instructions for kinhin, I made some errors. And it's important in those moments to remind, you know, like I reminded myself, okay, that happened. Now something else can happen. You just let it go and you focus on that heart quality. And, you know, that is felt so much more powerfully than any words I might say. And one thing that really helps, like with the forms, is just noticing like what other people in the zendo are doing and realizing you can just kind of follow whatever they're doing. And people will make mistakes because the way that we learn here is learning by doing. It's not memorizing and mastering it and then coming in and executing it. It's just we do it, there's a bit of fumbling, and slowly it becomes so embodied that we no longer have to think about it. And that's when that feeling, that connection can really arise for us.
Any other questions? Oh, just open it up as well to the online Sangha. If you have any questions, just raise your digital hands.
Yeah, I'm someone who's like come and gone from monastic living. I'm curious just about keeping up a practice, a sustained practice while living in the world, which is probably relevant to most people here. And yeah, but any of your experience on, yeah, what sustains that for you or how to maintain a strong commitment to practice even when you're not with a Sangha.
Yeah, so it's very different, right? Living in a monastic setting. In a monastic setting, you have so many supports to practice. You do this at this time. You have this meditation. You have this chant. You have this reminder. Oh, you're passing this statue. Oh, bow over here. So these are all supports. As 90, 80% of us know, who actually all of us know, because we all lived lives outside of monastic settings, in the real world, the marketplace, we don't have those supports. And so for me personally, the kind of the newest revelation I've had is, okay, yeah, I can't sit for 60 minutes. I would love to. But even if I could do it for a minute, just to sit down in my cushion, ring a bell, say a chant, ring a bell again, and go about my business, that is something. This idea of always coming back. We're always going to make mistakes. We're always going to have errors. We're human. That's the nature of our lives. But just to keep coming back and to remember our intention. Why do we do this? For me, it is literally a question of life and death. Like I know I will not be the person I want to be. I will not survive this life if I don't sit. That's how important it is for me. And so I sit. And that intention for each of us is very important. And we have to tap into that intention. Why do we sit? Why is this important for us? That's the engine, that's the spark. So I can't encourage that enough.
Yeah, I mean, I've been both in and out. I was here for a year, left for a little over a year, and then came back. And yeah, unquestionably, the schedule supports us, and being in the zendo supports us. But, kind of what was so transformative that came about during COVID was being able to do also everything by Zoom. And so entering the zendo via Zoom is another way to practice in community. And, that would be my biggest recommendation. Like, if at all possible, don't try and do it alone. Like, figure out a way to have some connection. And all of the sits are recorded, transmitted via YouTube as well. And then they stay up on YouTube. Even if you missed the sit, like, you wouldn't have to do it in real time. Your schedule might not allow it, but you can go back and do the recording, and it's like time and space have evaporated. You're back in the zendo with us, sitting with us. I've had the experience of realizing that, especially if I'm fortunate to sit next to a guiding teacher who just feels like a mountain to me, like so solid, so present, that there's these subtle transmissions that are going on. It's almost as if like they're a tuning fork. And that's one of the huge benefits of Sangha, is that we're upholding each other in this practice. So yeah, I can't recommend enough, like, find a way to have that connection, even if you can't be in the zendo with us. Yeah, and we have so many people. We often call the people coming in through Zoom our celestials. You also are a support for us. Like, we actually can see your faces on the screen. And over time, there's so many people that are joining us by Zoom, regularly. Like, every time there's a Dharma talk, once a day, they're sitting with us. And, it's collective action, and it's not at all diminished that you're on Zoom for us. Like, we really feel you as part of our Mahasangha. So thank you so much for being here with us today.
I
have a question online from Anya Kara.
Yeah.
The question is, I'm going to read it correctly. Why do we begin with our left foot in kinhin and when entering the zendo?
Yeah, so that's just oh my God, it's our lineage's kind of thing. So we come from the Maizumi lineage. There are a few teachers that came from Japan about 75 years ago now, in the 20th century, mid-20th century. Suzuki Roshi, Maizumi Roshi, Kobenchino, Katagiri Roshi, who got invited by Suzuki, and our lineage from Maizumi Roshi, White Plum lineage, it's called. We just start with our left foot. They start with their right foot. It's just idiosyncrasies for our tradition. And just to say, we need these standards so that we all kind of know what note we're playing when we play music together, right? Yeah, so it's just a convention, so to speak. Anything?
Yeah, and it's an expression of mindfulness. Like, some things are a mindfulness practice, even if we don't know why we do it exactly that way. Just embodying those practices is very helpful. And then you notice over time, you develop almost the muscle, I would say, of being aware of when you lose awareness, and then just bringing your attention back. And you just start to have this much deeper understanding of, like, how the mind works, how it gets distracted, what are the patterns when you start to build stories. Like, there can be patterns to that. That would be what we might call insight of knowing ourselves. But those things happen. There's no way it's not going to happen. But it's very beneficial to just be noticing when they happen and bring your attention back.
Amy K has their hand up.
Yeah, please, Amy K.
You can unmute yourself, Amy.
Thank you so much. I have a question about sitting. If you cannot get your knees to touch the floor, am I sitting incorrectly or do I just need to work on my flexibility?
You can raise your cushion, higher cushion.
Okay, so a higher cushion. Okay.
Yeah. Or bench or chair.
Use a bench or a chair. And many people, I'd say most people don't stay with only one method. Like I usually go back and forth between a cushion and a bench because I notice a cushion, after a while, my hips might feel tight. With a bench, you're more focused on your knees, but after a while, my knees might feel like they're ready for a rest. And so it's a way, it's kind of slightly different areas of your body that you're using to create that stability. So change itself is sometimes very helpful, but especially when the issue is that your knees are up, then I would highly recommend that you use a bench. And then sometimes even like during sesshin when we're doing 10 hours a day, I go into a chair for like an hour or so. Yeah.
And just to add, Amy K, you're right as well. Stretching helps too.
Thank you very much. That was very helpful.
Okay.
JV has their hand up.
Yeah, JD.
You can unmute.
JV.
Hi, thank you so much. Can you all hear me?
Yeah. Welcome.
Okay, terrific. I put a question in the chat, but wasn't sure if it was going through. But I have a question about clothing and the zendo. And I am relatively new to Zen, and I have yet to be in person in the zendo. And so I've been practicing at home, but online with you all sometimes too. But what can you recommend if I were to, be at the zendo? What, not in a fashionista sense, what to wear, but what is comfortable and what is respect for the space?
So we recommend that you just wear loose clothing so that it's not binding at all. Dark clothes, it doesn't have to be black, but as long as they're dark, that's fine. And that the clothing is modest, like not tank tops, but like short sleeves or long sleeves. And also that the fabric is quiet, like a lot of stuff that you might wear for hiking actually kind of makes this rustling sound. And those kinds of sounds, it's interesting like how much they amplify in the context of a zendo. So yeah, I recommend like cotton or linen or anything that's not going to be like a synthetic just because of the noise. Yeah, and I mean, we have an open door and people show up as they are. Like nobody is turned away if they don't have like the perfect clothing. I think one thing I would add is it helps if there's not logos on it, just because that can be distracting, or like words and messages on your clothing.
Yeah, and the rationale is, I think you alluded to it, is not to be distracting to others, to be supportive of others, and to support yourself and be comfortable yourself. That's the rationale. Yeah. Yeah.
I have a question from Andrea online. I was wondering why the left hand is placed over the right hand during meditation. For some reason, the opposite position would feel more natural to me. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So I asked this question to a teacher I really respect in Japan. God, I'm not remembering his name.
Well,
what do you, yeah, what?
I don't know why left or right, but it's compassion and wisdom. I believe that it's representing.
Yeah, great. So let's go with there's a few explanations. So I guess we talk about shashu. So we have few postures in our tradition. One, when we're just like walking about, and especially new residents are like always like, oh man, I forgot about this. We have this position called shashu, where we tuck in our thumb in our left hand and the rest of our hand over it gently, not like tightly and aggressively. And our right hand cups that. And the left thumb represents our mind. And the idea is that we're cupping our mind with our awareness. And hugging our awareness and our mind is compassion. And this comes from the idea that from Gasho, when you go to Gasho, from Shashu to Gasho, we are bringing these two energies, our wisdom and our compassion. These are the two kind of virtues we cultivate in our practice, the so-called two wings of the bird that fly us to awakening. Yeah. And so, yeah, we bring these energies together. And so similarly, when we go to Shashu, it's a quite natural transition from those postures. Yeah. And to add that kind of anecdote I heard from a teacher was this idea that, we've been doing this for thousands of years. And these have been passed on to us warm hand to warm hand, 84 generations, teacher to student, teacher to student. And that there's some kind of wisdom in this ancient, intimate knowledge of how the body works. That we understand that the left, to create this so-called universal mudra, is done. You have to combine these energies of wisdom and compassion.
Yeah, and we call this the cosmic mudra, and it rests at our hara. And it's very helpful when we want to bring our attention to our breath and we want it at our hara. We're kind of gently pressing it against this place, and it's allowing us to feel the rise and fall created by our breath, and to notice when the breath is deep in the body. So it's all kind of interconnected in terms of body and mind.
Yeah, there's so much more to say now. You've opened up a Pandora's box. You'd like to talk about the drooping and the tight.
Oh, why don't you? But that's good.
Yeah, so I would have mentioned this in meditation, but could everyone go into the cosmic mudra? So you can just kind of feel it. So there's a way that we can do it. And for those online, I think you see both mine and Jimon's. And the way we do it is so that it's gently touching. And so you don't have to put any muscle or emphasis. If you notice you're having a hard time, like it's drooping, you can just kind of play with kind of your clothing so that it's kind of propped up. And you can play with how you pivot your wrists. I notice with mine, when I pivot my wrist a little forward, I kind of naturally make this oval shape. And this is a fabulous indicator as we're sitting doing our practice of the state of our mind. When we're sitting, observing our breath, observing our body, the thumbs reflect the state of our mind, in that it might so happen that they start drooping, as you see mine doing. And this is just a reflection that our mind is sinking, that our mind is tired, it needs rest, we're dull. And so when we notice that, we're like, oh, okay, wake up. I'm here to wake up. And you might go back. Or you might notice the opposite. You might notice that you're pressing the fingers. And this might reflect the fact that the mind's really intensely thinking and it's trying to resolve this problem, and it's like, it has this energy of like, I gotta figure this out. And so you might do this. And so if you notice your thumbs, like, oh wow, I'm really pressing my thumbs. I'm thinking a lot. I'm angry, or I'm trying to figure something out. And so there, you get gentle. You relax. So it's a very good tool for a sitting practice.
I would add that sometimes people use one of the cushions, or they bring a shawl in to prop it up, because sometimes whatever you're wearing isn't going to provide anything that's going to help you with that. And it's one of, holding this mudra, if you're used to other forms of meditation, can feel not so natural at first. And that definitely helps, is to have some kind of prop for that. Yeah. And you want your arms like somewhat horizontal. Another thing that can happen is like it just drops way down. And that's because you're using your thighs then to prop it up. And then that's when it's better to use a cushion. Yeah.
Or should it be? Just curious about the height of the mudra, if the belly button should be like at the thumbs or in the middle of the circle, or
Yeah, so the way I was taught is that it's generally in front of your hara, which is I think a word I mentioned in meditation. So the hara is in your navel. It's about 3 inches-ish below your belly button. Yeah, so right here.
Yeah, so the thumbs at the navel.
Yeah.
And then it will capture that 3-inch. Yeah.
And we're always balancing like comfort for the body, because you really want to rest in your physical experience, but also this like guideline, right? This tool. Yeah. Great questions, great practical questions. Anything else online, Manny?
I don't see any hands raised. If you can't find the digital hand and you want to speak, you can raise your physical hand.
Marty, question? Oh,
I'll walk over.
Yeah, this question might be helpful for those of us who are also coming from somewhat different traditions and different forms. So, we're working at the hara, we're breathing, we're feeling the breath in the hara. Once our mind calms, then for the rest of the sit, are there forms for, I know that there's shikantaza, which is like just sitting, right? Is it also admissible to, bring in a metta practice or to contemplate on the Brahma Viharas, let's say? Or are we really just trying to keep the mind just wide open as sky?
mm-hmm. Go for it.
You go first and yeah.
Yeah, so those are beautiful practices, right? The Metta, Brahma Vihara, the Brahma Viharas. And yes, here we are just trying to settle in the physical. I mean, I think a lot of those, like the Brahma Viharas, these are great practices to realize that every moment is life and death. And even more reason, be here with this experience, right here, right now, breath, body, ground. Yeah.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Oh, I'll add that, later when we go through our next guided meditation, it is our technique here that we're counting our breath up to 10 and then starting again. And that's a way to focus our attention, especially when we're new to meditation. If we don't have something to focus our mind on, it can be much easier for it to wander and go into stories, often regrets about the past, fear about the future. So counting, it's almost a little bit like training wheels. And there are people who have meditated for years and years and years, and they're still using that method. And they might start with it, and there might be a time where they feel like their mind is settling, and then they can go into just sitting and stop counting, but they're still focusing on the breath. Like the breath is always the core of our practice. And then there are times, of course, that thoughts arise, and sometimes those thoughts are coming from Dharma talks and from things that like have really resonated with us. And I have had the experience during zazen of insight or deeper understanding of things coming from those thoughts, but we're not in a really intentional, focused way, so much focusing on the teachings because they're conceptual. We're trying to stay in the body, and the body is our teacher. Yeah.
Okay. Do we feel settled with our questions? Yeah. Anything? Any other questions are fantastic. Paul? Good? All right. Okay. So what time is it? How's everyone feeling with their legs? Do we need another stretch or are we feeling good to do another short sit? Stretch a little bit and then we do another sit. Yeah, even online. Get comfortable, stretch, get some blood flowing again. Get your toes, ankles.
Do you want to talk about changing positions during a sit?
Hmm. Yeah, you want to say something about it?
Yeah.
About, let's see, because we should have another Q&A. Should we just
Okay.
pick one?
Yeah.
Okay, everyone. Now we'll do another sit. And then after the sit, we will have a 15-minute break. We can use the restroom, have another Q&A. Hope it's not too much Q&A. And then, oh, we'll have a sit. We'll read a text from Dogen Zenji and have another Q&A. Okay, how are we doing? Good. So as always, everyone, get as comfortable as you know how. Remember, this is Saturday morning. You're not working. We're here together, easeful and joyful. Remember our postures, hips over our knees, hand in mudras, our spine stacked so we're resting, not using our muscles, truly relaxing. We can always begin by going through our body and again using these supports, these guides. Top of our head held up by this imaginary string. Our gaze open but soft. 45 degrees in front of us. Our earlobes over our shoulders. As we're going through this, just truly relax. Settle the body onto itself. Our chin gently tucked in. Our chest open, our open heart. Our back upright, but not uptight. Feel our sits bones on our cushion. Our lower body deeply rooted in the ground, with Mother Earth supporting us underneath. So you can have this felt sensation of a rooted lower body and the very light upper body. And from here, I'm going to ask everyone to slowly sway left to right. Let your own equilibrium find its center place without trying. And then slowly sway forward and back. And let the equilibrium there find its natural center point. Next, feel your breath deep in your belly. Just count 3 times. After that 3rd time, invoke your intention. Why are you here? Why do you sit? Again, maybe you're sitting to generate some tranquility, some clarity, some peace in your sitting practice, in your life. Maybe you're sitting to be more of a ballast for your loved ones. Maybe you're sitting because you're going through a hard situation and you need some orientation. Whatever your purpose, feel it in your body, manifest it. This is your intention. Once you've invoked this intention, please let it go. Allow it to perfume your practice. And once again, bring your attention to your hara, to your belly. Now, I've already offered one technique for observing your hara. You can just observe the physical sensations of your belly expanding and contracting. Another useful tool is counting. With every exhale, simply count. 1, 2, 4. Like that, you count all the way to 10. Once you get to 10, begin back at 1. Now, it might happen you lose track of your counting. That's okay, that's normal. You begin back at 1. What happens if you hear sounds or you have an itch? That's also okay. Just be aware of it and go back to your breath. Now it might happen that a very juicy story comes to mind that you really want to think about. Well, now, in this practice, acknowledge that it's there. And as we would say, you would open the hand of thought. Let go of the grasp of this story and return back to your hara, back to your abdomen. If, on the other hand, you're feeling sleepy or drowsy or dull, recall your intention. Why are you here? In many ways, we're here to wake up. To invoke this energy. Invoke curiosity. Or maybe you might have noticed these last few minutes, your attention has been very sharp. That's good. No big deal. But see if at that moment you can just drop your anchor of your breath and just sit. Another way to put this, without moving, see if you can just stop meditating. Just sit. These last few moments, once again, bring to mind a loved one, a friend, a difficult situation, something where there's a lot of difficulty. And see if you can send over to this situation whatever goodness you might have generated in these minutes together. May they be okay. Do that now, please. We all go in Gasho together, bow. Thanks, everyone. We will now have a 15-minute break. It is 11:46, so let's say, no, 47. Let's say 12, 13 minutes. Is that okay? Yeah, okay.
And there's restrooms on either side of the zendo if you go through either of the red doors.
Everyone, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Okay, everyone. So Jimon now is going to read a, what would you call that? An article, a letter. I think it's literally a letter. It's called the Fukanzazengi. It is from, well, she'll read it. It's 13th century, late 13th century, by the founder of this lineage, Soto Zen lineage, Dogen. I mentioned him briefly before. He's like the founder of this lineage, and he went to China. He was always, he trained many years in Japan. He was a young man, trained since he was a little boy, and he was moved by this question. If we are already enlightened, why do we practice? Like, why do we sit if we all have Buddha nature? And just to say, to give a little perspective, this is the opposite of many other kind of traditions that might want to say, no, you have an original sin, you have something that's wrong with you. In this Mahayana Buddhist tradition, it is actually the opposite. Actually, you are perfect. But as Suzuki Roshi would say, you can use a little bit of improvement. And so the question is, so why do we train? Why do we practice? So this led him to China. He met his last teacher, Rujing. He had a powerful awakening experience. He was sitting late into the night and with one of his Dharma brothers, and he kept falling asleep. And Rujing, his teacher, I think smacked him, if I'm not mistaken. He said, "Wake up! Don't you realize you have to let go of body and mind?" And at this, Ehe Dogen just had this understanding. He's like, "Oh yeah, body and mind has dropped away." And he received transmission, mind-to-mind transmission from his teacher, came back to Japan, and the first thing he did was write this letter. Fukanzazengi is translated as a letter, recommending zazen to all people. And Jimon's gonna, read the text. Yeah.
The real way, oh, sorry, I have to turn on my mic.
Just to say, there's many translations. This is translated by Kazuaki Tanahashi. He's this fantastic, wonderful peace activist who's a close friend of Roshi Joan and Upaya. He comes often. So I encourage everyone to come when he's here. Yeah.
And I'll point out, this is Kaz's calligraphy work at the front of the zendo. Mm. The real way circulates everywhere. How could it require practice or enlightenment? The essential teaching is fully available. How could effort be necessary? Furthermore, the entire mirror is free of dust. Why take steps to polish it? Nothing is separate from this very place. Why journey away? And yet, if you miss the mark, even by a strand of hair, you are as distant as heaven from earth. If the slightest discrimination occurs, you will be lost in confusion. You could be proud of your understanding and have abundant realization, or acquire outstanding wisdom and attain the way by clarifying the mind. Still, if you are wandering about in your head, you may miss the vital path of letting your body leap. You should observe the example of Buddha Shakyamuni of the Jeta Grove, who practiced sitting up straight for 6 years, even though he was gifted with intrinsic wisdom. Still celebrated in the Master Bodhidharma of Shaolin Temple, who sat facing the wall for 9 years, although he had already received the mind seal. Ancient sages were like this, who nowadays does not need to practice as they did. Hence, you should stop searching for phrases and chasing after words. Take the backward step and turn the light inward. Your body-mind of itself will drop off and your original face will appear. If you want to attain just this, immediately practice just this. For zazen, a quiet room is appropriate. Drink and eat in moderation. Let go of all involvements and let myriad things rest. Do not think good or bad. Do not judge right or wrong. Stop conscious endeavor and analytic introspection. Do not try to become a Buddha. How could being a Buddha be limited to sitting or not sitting? In an appropriate place for sitting, set out a thick mat and put a round cushion on top of it. Sit in either the full or half lotus posture. For the full lotus posture, first place the right foot on the left thigh, then the left foot on the right thigh. For the half lotus posture, place the left foot on the right thigh. Loosen the robes and belts and arrange them in an orderly way. Then place the right hand palm up on the left foot and the left hand on the right hand, with the tips of the thumbs lightly touching each other. Sit straight up without leaning to the right or left and without bending forward or backward. The ears should be in line with the shoulders and the nose in line with the navel. Rest the tongue against the roof of the mouth with lips and teeth closed. Keep the eyes open and breathe gently through the nose. Having adjusted your body in this manner, take a breath and exhale fully. Then sway your body left to right. Now sit steadfastly and think, not thinking. How do you think, not thinking? Beyond thinking. This is the essential art of zazen. The zazen I speak of is not learning meditation. It is simply the Dharma gate of enjoyment and ease. It is the practice realization of complete enlightenment. Realize the fundamental point free from the binding of nets and baskets. Once you experience it, you are like a dragon swimming in the water or a tiger reposing in the mountains. Know that the true Dharma emerges of itself, clearing away hindrances and distractions. When you stand up from sitting, move your body slowly and rise calmly without haste. We understand from past precedents that going beyond ordinary and sacred, where sitting and standing are effortless and boundless, depends solely on the power of zazen. Furthermore, bringing forth the turning point by using a finger, a pole, a needle, or a mallet, or leading people to enlightenment with a whisk, a fist, a stick, or a shout, cannot be understood by discriminatory thinking. How can it be understood by the use of supernatural powers? Zazen is an awesome presence outside form and color. How is it not the path preceding concept? Thus, do not be concerned with who is wise and who is stupid. Do not discriminate the sharp from the dull. To practice wholeheartedly is the true endeavor of the way. Practice realization is not defiled with specialness. It is a matter for every day. Now, in this world and in other worlds, in India and China, Buddha ancestors equally carry the Buddha seal and teach to sit immersed in steadfastness. Although circumstances may vary in 1,000 ways, wholeheartedly practice Zen, giving yourself fully to the way. Why give up the sitting platform of your own house and wander uselessly in the dust of a remote land? Once a wrong step is taken, you depart from the way. Having received a human life, do not waste the passing moments. Already upholding the Buddha way, why would you indulge in the sparks from a flint? After all, form is like a dewdrop on the grass. Human life is like a flash of lightning, transient and illusory, gone in a moment. Honored practitioners of Zen, please do not grope for the elephant or try to grasp the true dragon. Strive to hit the mark by directly pointing. Revere the mind that goes beyond study and surpasses all doings. Experience the enlightenment of the Buddha, correctly inheriting the samadhi of the ancestors. Practice thusness continuously, and you will be thus. The treasury will open of itself for you to use as you wish. Written at Konondori Monastery on the 15th day, the mid-year, the first year of the Tenpuku era in 1233. So Shoryu asked us earlier, why do we sit? And there's many answers we could give to that. I think what I experienced coming here as a new resident back in 2021, that I wasn't quite expecting. I didn't really know what to expect. I just felt this intense curiosity and a kind of longing to explore, a kind of intuition to just say yes to the possibility of residency. And as my experience unfolded, what was arising for me was a sensation of liberation, like personal liberation. And subsequently, I came across this quote, which I feel really captures what was the cause of my suffering at that time. And the quote is, "Attention is born free and is everywhere in chains. The liberation we seek is the freedom of persons in full and conscious command of their powers of attention, which is the basis of all other freedoms." This was written by a group called the Friends of Attention, or the Attention Liberation Movement. Yeah, I was so much kind of a slave of habit and wanting to have more spaciousness. And yeah, that spaciousness, I think, is what was so liberating, to realize that we have choice over where we focus our attention. And attention is everything in terms of the quality of our presence, the quality of our connections to others, and our connection to our own innate Buddha nature, which creates the field for wisdom and compassion to arise. So here at Upaya, once we've taken our refuge vows, where we take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, we're essentially taking bodhisattva vows. And so when we sit and do zazen, we're reviewing our intention to end suffering, not just for ourselves, but for all beings. And that ability, the skill to be able to do that, actually comes with wisdom and compassion, but it begins with the quality of attention. And we're all experiencing right now, in the face of social media, our attention being commodified and basically hijacked. And it's programmed to actually create an addiction that is sharpening the way our mind already would tend in that direction, but it's like feeding the addiction in a way that's getting it harder and harder for us to find comfort just resting in, the word they used was thusness, or just this, like being comfortable just being present with things as they are. We're like getting wound up to need enormous amounts of stimulation. And even for myself, I find, like, I was listening to podcasts to relax, to fall asleep on, and yet that was just another form of stimulation. Like, I was confusing stimulation or distraction with relaxation. And so zazen is actually, a method for unwinding those natural habits or tendencies of the mind, as well as this greater force we're all steeped in now that's like trying to ratchet it up, trying to tighten it. And so through zazen and other practices here, I started to feel this spaciousness or liberation. And the other thing I really felt was just so much encouragement. Like, we're all human. Nobody's going to be doing this perfectly, but it's all possible for us. And it's not so much that we're practicing faith in the way that we might in other traditions, where we just believe. It's just the truth and we need to believe a specific thing. I would say what's more inherent or characteristic of Zen is trust. And it's trust in the triple gem, in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. And very importantly, our own Buddha nature. And as we develop this relationship to trust, we start to have a direct experience of our own innate wisdom and compassion. We start to trust our intuition more. It's so much easier for us to drop that kind of grasping of the mind, or that belief that, you know, like the mind is the pinnacle, the most important way we understand things or we approach things. And we come into this more full body awareness of our own direct experience. And even that approach was a form of liberation for me, that we're not projecting out onto somebody else our own innate source of wisdom. You were referencing earlier that, you know, many were raised with the concept of original sin. And we have another Zen teacher here in Santa Fe, Henry Schuckman, who uses the term original love. And I feel like that's another way of expressing our own Buddha nature. And, you know, that was also very liberating for me to reflect on that. I just want to share a few things that I found helpful as I was learning Zazen. I came in having been a Vipassana practitioner, so Zazen was a slightly different technique for me. And my experience in Vipassana, it was very positive, but one hurdle I had never gotten over was actually being able to sit on a cushion without a back support. And I had done multiple 10-day Vipassana retreats of like 10 hours of sitting a day. But I had this story going in my mind. Oh, I could never sit without a back support. No way. Like there's just too much pain. And, you know, I couldn't believe everybody else in the room was doing it. But I was always getting by with using a back support. And so I never really took the opportunity to just explore like what might be possible for me. And then when I came here and I got Zazen instruction and went straight into a month-long practice period, I think that, you know, I did find that, of course, it is possible. It was really just a story. I did go through, I would say, several weeks where it wasn't entirely comfortable for me, but I was able to develop a relationship with this discomfort and not be reacting or rejecting it so much, but just really trying to cultivate curiosity and like this deep commitment, just stay the course. And I think that's where the trust comes in. And I pulled in something that somebody had told me in Vipassana too, is, you know, you might feel like you want to run away. Many people will, but trust that support will be there. And I found that, you know, cultivating that commitment and curiosity was such a huge support, because so much it's either the waffling, like, am I committed? Am I not committed? Do I like this? Do I not like this? Can I do it? Can I not do it? It's the waffling that we call that kind of the second arrow. Like the first arrow might be like, oh, my knee is hurting right now. And the second arrow is making a story about it or really rejecting that, and then that really amplifying the suffering associated with it. So yeah, the message of like trust and stay the course and support will be there. And, you know, once again, it's not something to believe, like explore it. See what's true for you when you do that. And then we all have the experience of the mind wandering, the posture slumping, you know, our mudra collapsing. And we just bring awareness to that and kindness. And I tell myself, oh, begin again. Like every moment, a fresh moment. Every moment we can begin again. And we don't judge it as, oh, I'm doing it well or not doing it well. You know, everybody in the room is having these experiences where the mind is wandering. And a lot of the practices not so much that that never happens, but what is our reaction to it when that happens and when we notice it? And just, bringing our attention back and giving us a fresh start. I think the other thing that really helped me was something it was new for me. We're all aware of the sense organs of the body. We taste, we hear, we touch, and so on. And in Buddhist philosophy, the mind itself is another sense organ. And so in the way that if we see a tree, we don't look at that tree and say, because I see it, therefore I'm the tree. We recognize that the tree is different from us. And we can have that same way of perceiving our thoughts. The mind generates thoughts, that's what the mind does, but I am not my thoughts. They're just arising, they're just phenomenon, like any other phenomenon that we're taking in through any other sense organ. And for me, that created a lot of spaciousness. And Shoryu used the term opening the hand of thought. That was very helpful for kind of understanding that that was possible and not putting too much weight on what the thoughts actually were or the fact that they were even arising. Shoryu also referenced Suzuki Roshi's teaching of give your mind a large pasture. So his expression actually was, to give your sheep or cow a large spacious meadow is the way to control them. Yeah, so we're not so much using control. It's really the liberating concept of it is, yes, they come and go, but just, give them wide spaciousness. I think the other thing that's been really significant for me is in the forms that we practice in the zendo, a lot of them have very symbolic meaning, like when Shoryu was describing what our cosmic mudra meant. Also, when we prostrate, we're putting down our elbows, our hands, and touching our forehead to the floor. And at some point in my first year here, someone explained to me, well, that's laying down the three vices of greed, anger, and delusion. And I wanted everything to be unlocked and explained to me. Like in general, I love symbolic thinking. And I'm like, oh, I'm sure there's just meaning to everything. I want it all explained. And actually, I had originally committed for 6 months. I extended a second 6 months because the theme of that next practice period was, what are we doing in the zendo? And what is the meaning of all those forms? And I just had so much curiosity about it. And then when we got in there, one of the teachers said, what does your body have to teach you when you prostrate? And that was revelatory for me. I already had the direct experience of this love arising for prostrating, and I couldn't language what it was, but it was giving me this feeling that I had not gotten through other movement in my life. And then the idea that our bodies ourselves are teachers, and we have this, our own intuition that arises through these movements. It enabled me to just realize, oh, our conceptual mind is not the only gate. There's so many other ways of perceiving and knowing. And my body was not the primary way I had lived in the world and sought to understand things. It was like very much my mind. So this teaching was a kind of gateway for me, as well as of zazen, of learning to trust the body as a teacher. I think that's it for now.
Thank you. We would like to open it up again to any questions and answers. It could be anything about the reading, Jimon's reflections about the meditation technique, anything that came up in the meditation technique. It could be about a statue you saw outside. So anything really. It's open for you guys to really feel comfortable with everything we're doing here. Yeah, the mic.
Thank you for the reading and for the reflections as well. It's been very helpful. I have a question about the phrase that I was just struck by, original face. If you guys could speak about that, I would appreciate that. Thank you.
That's actually a koan. What was your face before your parents were born? That's a koan I haven't worked with. I mean, if I had to guess, I feel like it's your original nature. Before, the mind came in and became dominant.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah. So original face. Yeah, it's a koan. Yeah, well, that's a great koan, right? What is your face before your mom and dad were born? Like, what does that mean, right? But I think it goes back to the conversation we're having about this idea of like original love, that we all have Buddha nature. And when we're bowing to the altar, you're bowing to yourself. We respect ourselves. We are complete already. We're not here to become different, right? We're just here to know ourselves and see ourselves as complete. That's what I think. Yeah, that's how it reflects to me.
Yeah, I'd be curious what other people think it might mean.
Uh-oh, Jimon posed the question to everyone. What is your original face, ladies and gentlemen? Yeah. Oh, we saw two hands.
I think both of emptiness, because before my parents were born, in some dimension, I'm not there. But in another sense, there's the potential for so many things. So my face, in some ways, might be this sort of non-dual combination of emptiness and limitless potential.
Beautiful. Thank you.
I guess I have some thoughts. I think of, we become reflections of maybe what other people think of us and our external world. And so that original face is kind of just that purity of self, without all of those external factors, kind of reflecting in the mirror.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Anyone else?
I kind of think of like a baby or young child's face, even though it's not like before your parents were born, but just that like essence of like, I don't know, someone's, spirit or true nature shining really brightly and freely, and like a sense of openness. Maybe before, it's obscured by like society or culture or difficult relationships or traumas that we have, and kind of just that, pure expression.
Yeah, you're reminding me of a phrase that has been very meaningful to me, unconstructed presence. which speaks to what you were both saying, actually, what everybody said. Yeah, undefended, unconstructed, before we're socialized. But yeah, I spent quite a bit of time just exploring that in the body. What would it feel like in the body if I dropped the need to have a story, to project an image, to have an idea about myself? I just let it all go and I just rested in being. And as I explored that, I just physically felt this deep, deep relaxation. But it was such a beautiful invitation that really I just never even considered as something possible before that. Yeah.
I was just reading, so one of our lineages from Taizan Mazumi, White Plum. So Roshi Jones' teacher was Bernie Glassman. Bernie Glassman's teacher was Taizan Mazumi. And he actually references exactly this question. So I was looking for it to kind of share his wisdom. And I can't find it. But maybe I can share something that I think is helpful for it. And it's in regards to kind of this idea of this original mind is some kind of like perfect wisdom. And one thing that I was really moved that he said was, let's see, where is that? And he says, before we go further, let me explain, and I think you touched on this. Before we go further, let me explain there are two aspects of our practice and our life: the intrinsic or the absolute, and the experiential or the relative. The intrinsic refers to an ultimate reality, the way things really are, whether or not we are aware of it. The experiential or relative level refers to what we directly and consciously experience as real. Looking at it from the experiential perspective, if we don't practice zazen and the way correctly, then we miss the point. And thus we create a gap between ourselves and externals, and we cannot recognize the way. But when we examine it from the intrinsic perspective, just being as we are is perfect. Perhaps the word perfect is not quite adequate. Let me add the word complete. Nothing is lacking. Nothing is in excess. No two things are identical. Each of us is distinctly different, perfect and complete. And I'll say the last thing. All of us enter into Zen to find our true self, the real implication of life and death. But when it says, fundamentally speaking, the basis of the way is perfectly pervasive, what is the way? And I'll leave it with the question. Okay, I hope that was supportive. Any other questions? Yeah. Online?
Online.
Yeah, online.
You should be able to unmute yourself, Pamela.
There we go. Thank you so much. I've really appreciated the discussion of some of the real basics today. And one of the things in the Dogen reading was he spoke to a gentle breath. And one of the things that I've noticed in my meditation and focus on the breath is that I tend to get into a really deep breath, and it's longer and deeper, and I can watch it move through from my belly up through my chest and into my nose. And I'm wondering if that's certainly something that in yoga I've done for years, but is it not a correct practice in zazen and in meditation?
That sounds great. I think that's great. Develop a deep, long breath. And actually, I opened the book because I wanted to see where exactly. Do you remember if it was in the beginning or the end?
Oh
of the.
goodness, it was maybe towards the end of maybe talking about a gentle breath.
I'll add that we don't seek to control the breath. We allow the breath to be as it is. But I think the whole container of zazen results in the breath deepening naturally. Like that naturally occurs when we're in the posture and we're bringing our attention to it. So just notice if you feel like you're controlling it versus, oh, this is just how the breath wants to be in this moment. Yeah.
Yeah, and I found it's read in the middle, and it's when he's talking about kind of our posture, rest the tongue against the roof, the mouth with the lips and teeth closed. And then he says, keep the eyes open and breathe gently through the nose. So the gentle is not about shallow or deep. It's just, yeah, not aggressive, not deliberate, as Jimon is saying, naturally, soft.
Thank you.
Great question.
You were going to comment on changing position.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so in general, we try not to move during meditation, but especially when you're new and you're trying to get comfortable, sometimes you simply need to. And so we try to practice the middle way and simply use discernment. So, like there's times where pain might be so intense, you're worrying like, oh, am I actually going to tweak my knee? And then it's going to be sore permanently or like for quite some time after this. So we try first just to see like, oh, am I just reacting to this, maybe being overly sensitive to it? Or does it actually make sense to change position? So for example, my feet can still sometimes fall asleep. And if I have a role in the zendo where I'm going to have to be able to stand up and walk to the altar and light the charcoal, I'm going to change the position so I can do that. If I wasn't in a temple role, maybe I might let it go a little bit longer, but I'd be very careful when I rose. But yeah, it's all a process of discernment, and we're not, there are people who can struggle in the opposite way, like not that they're too undisciplined, but they go to this like extremely, almost unkind, where there's some attraction to suffering for them, So I think if you just always keep in mind middle way and discernment, you maybe give it a few seconds. Sometimes often things will just evolve on their own and go away because nothing is permanent. But yeah, when you do find that you need to move, we just do kind of a small bow and then we shift our position. And as I mentioned, we're often having two methods. So it could be we're just shifting on the bench. We probably wouldn't like completely swap out a bench and a cushion, but we would use kinhin time to do that. Yeah, but like it's not militant, I would say.
And Jimon, why is it important to stay still? Putting you on the spot.
Yeah. I mean, for my practice, I don't know if this is the right answer, but being still is an expression of not being in a place of reactivity. And, if I just move whenever I want to, it's kind of like I've lost the thread. Like there's the container of zazen and it gets too loose. And I feel like equanimity and some of those other qualities that would naturally arise, stillness is what makes that possible. And in a way, we're rewiring our brain. Like every time we don't react, we're creating spaciousness. And then instead of kind of being subject to our habitual patterns, we're loosening those. And so I would say that the transformative nature of zazen happens through stillness and silence. And you just don't benefit as much, like if you're not fully engaging in it in that way.
Great answer.
I wanted to add to the same question. I think also is for the person who is sitting next to you.
Oh, yeah.
It can be really, once I remember a person sat next to me and moved like a hamster, and it was really difficult to sink in and be able to meditate.
That's really interesting because I had a situation where the person next to me was moving like a hamster. I love that expression. And it pushed me to be it was so difficult that it actually pushed me to be even more quiet and more still. And it was actually a benefit, but please don't do that.
I mean, yeah, it's true that you work with whatever is. Like the thusness of that moment is you have a neighbor who is a hamster, and then you see, like, can I drop my reactivity to it, and like, yeah, it's almost like there's one in every practice period. And sometimes like the teachers will skillfully approach them and say, hey, do you notice that you're moving a lot in the zendo? And, are you uncomfortable? They might try to help them with their posture, but often the person doesn't even realize that they're doing it. Like they're kind of just checked out, But then also we might find that very person was deeply moved by being held within the zendo and accepted despite kind of their distractions. And so we never really know what's going on with somebody. We don't know what's going on in their body or their mind. And so it is kind of an opportunity for compassion and not the practice of not knowing. Yeah.
Great questions. Any other questions? Still have about 10 more minutes. Bernardo.
Just a more practical question. Could you tell us the meaning of the different sequences of the bell? So why 3, why 1, why?
Oh.
I don't think.
So I don't know why. The question why, I don't know why we choose 3. Maybe it's just tradition. Do you know?
Why, but it's
like what is it?
What is the meaning for
So great question. Like, what do they mean? Good.
Like, what are they signaling?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
So you might have heard when we start the meditation, 3 bells. When you hear, this is a great question. When you hear 2 bells, that means we are going into walking meditation. And when you hear 1 bell, that means meditation's over. 3, 2, 1. Am I missing something else?
And then we also use the 1 bell, like we all rise together, and when everyone is ready, when we all bow together. Yeah. And there's many sequences that have 3s in them. Like once we go into liturgy, there's always sequences of 3. And then what you're hearing is like ding, 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 ding. And that's like the end of the 3 prostrations. So 3 is really common. And I think it's also recognizing the triple gem, the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha.
I think what is important for everyone to know is that when you hear this bell over there 3 times, meditation has begun. 2, walking. 1, finish. And then do you have the Incan, Jimon, with me? You'll hear, like she mentioned, this bell, which is a different bell, once. That means bow. And what's really interesting, as the residents, that means stand up, and we're going to bow. If you start living here, and some of you living here might start experiencing this, I know Jimon has, you're just walking through life and you hear a bell, you're like, what? Oh my goodness.
But the other thing that happens, because we're often like just paying attention to who's around us, someone bows and we're just like this Pavlovian, like, oh, yeah. And yeah, it has a really funny ripple effect and so we actually do periodic training in the zendo because we're constantly having to kind of reseed, what are the forms? Because somebody starts something and then it just like takes on a life of its own. So yeah, that's kind of interesting because at times it's very helpful to just see what other people are doing. But you kind of have to know to pay attention to the person who knows what they're doing. Yeah.
How does everyone feel? Do you feel comfortable? Like if you come to Upaya for a sit, you kind of know your way around? Yeah? Good. That's a big goal, and I hope everyone's really enjoyed. We have, and one more question? Yeah.
Thank you for all this. I've been in some zendos where you face the wall the whole time, some where it's switched, and others where you don't at all. I'm wondering what the practice is here.
So here our first and last sit of the day, we face each other. Every other sit in between the first and the last, we face the wall. So typically we have just 3 sits. So the first and the last are facing each other, and the middle faces the wall. But those days where we have 4, 5, 8 sits, all those in between sits, we face the wall. Yeah. And I think the more interesting question is, why do we face the wall?
This morning.
Oh, sorry, Mike, I'm sorry.
So before we go there, this morning, I think after the rope chant, there was a switch from facing each other to facing the wall. Or did I not see what was going on right?
Yeah, that's done for
putting on the rakusus.
rakusus and priests putting on their okesas. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and just for the few minutes it takes for us to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's also because of the sect of Zen. So Soto is usually facing the wall. Rinzai is facing the center, and this is kind of a hybrid somehow.
Yeah. Yeah, so Maizumi, our lineage holder, is hybrid. But here's the interesting thing, so was Dogen. You know, Dogen trained also with koans, but yeah, great addition. Thank you. Yeah. Any other question online? Anyone online? Right on. Okay, maybe we can conclude with just 3 minutes of sitting, do our last. I'm trying to get in as many minutes from you all of sitting as possible. It's kind of like my mission in life. As many minutes of meditation as possible. So once again, everyone, really settle in your body. Settle the self into the self. Once settled, bring your attention back to your hara. Why have you come today? Why do we sit? Remember to feel this intention in your body. A selfless intention to serve others. And then let it drop away naturally. As you sit, invoke this curiosity, this wonderment. What's going on with your physical experience? What's going on with your body as you sit? Maybe you feel some pain. Maybe you feel an itch. Whatever arises, just welcome it. Welcome it like an old friend. Thanks for coming, everyone. We'll hang out here if you want to talk for a few minutes. I guess a few things we should say is that this is completely by donation. If you'd like to donate, that would be fantastic to Upaya or to us. Jimon is a resident here. She completely lives off of, well, I don't know about completely, but you do live off donations for the most part. She's not making millions of dollars as a resident, as you can imagine. So yeah, donations are appreciated, and also in our practice, donations are a way of being selfless, being generous. It's a beautiful practice as well. We do these ease and joys once a month, so feel free to come by. Please come to the meditations, the 3 times a day, Wednesday through Sunday. And we have a few programs that are always happening. I don't know of the schedule at all, but I'm sure you do.
So at the end of this month is Planting Life. And we plant every year a Three Sisters garden, which is done according to a traditional Native American practice. The Three Sisters are corn, beans, and squash. And it involves like actually planting, but there's a whole program of teachings around it. And the teachers for that are Roxanne Swinzel and her son from Santa Clara Pueblo, as well as another woman who's an apprentice to, I'm sure she's more than an apprentice, but one of Roxanne's students. Alonzo, who's an archaeoastronomer. Wendy Johnson, who founded Green Gulch, the garden at Green Gulch, which is affiliated with San Francisco Zen Center. And of course, Roshi. But it's so much fun. And we've done a lot to prepare the land for that. And so the time is spent like ceremonially planting it. And there's a ritual that goes along with that. It's also available on Zoom if you can't be here in person. And it is a program you can register for if you want to be on site for it. But also members of the local Sangha can show up for Saturday and participate in that. I highly encourage it. We also have Zen Circle coming up in July, which is Kaz Tanahashi. Kaz, who painted the calligraphy here and who also has been the primary translator of Dogen into English. He's 93 years old, and such a joy to be taught by him. The thing I most remember him saying in that workshop is, it's very important when you're painting that you have a smile on your face. So yeah, the embodiment of joy, I would say.
Joy density.
Joy density. Oh, he comes up with all kinds of interesting phrases. Yeah, and then check the website. There's also a lot on Zoom. We're in the middle of this program, The Measure of Our Humanity, and that's an expression of Upaya's socially engaged Buddhism commitment. And there's a lineup of just diverse and really interesting teachers on that. And if for many of the programs, you can actually even register after they've happened. Most of the time they're available on a donation basis, and then everything is recorded and you can go back and hear the recordings at any time. So yeah, definitely check out the website.
And just to mention something that happens all the time, every Wednesday night we have a Dharma talk. Please come to those. They're pretty great. And oftentimes we offer, Upaya offers dinner to the local Sangha. So please come, get involved. This is a great place. This is for you all. So please use it.
Yeah. And actually, I wanted to remind you, Shoryu, that you were the very first person I met when I arrived at Upaya in September 21. And that was, of course, during the quarantine era.
Oh, wow.
So the practice then was residents arrived and went into quarantine for 3 days. And Shoryu made sure I was fed.
Oh, so I hope I was nice.
Yes, yeah, but it's just so perfect that we're sitting here together. It feels very full circle to be here with you. So thank you for that.
Thank you for doing this.
Can I mention a couple of other
more announcements? There we go.
One is the Young Adult Sesshin, June 9th through 14th. So that's a great sitting practice. And young is very liberal here, that idea.
Is it 35 or under, I think? Yeah.
It is, but I think people have applied before that are older and they
45 or under? No,
no, 35. Okay. And then the other one is Queer and Trans Day-Long Retreat on June 20th.
Right on.
That's first for this kind of program.
Amazing.
And there's also online Sangha offered for that community. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thanks all. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Enjoy your rest of your Saturday.